Welcome to the Open Door Policy Podcast. In each episode, we speak with all types of joyful missionary disciples who are unleashing the gospel in different and exciting ways. If you like what you hear, please subscribe and share our podcast with your family and friends. In this episode, we sit down with Coleman Ward, a music student, lifelong Detroiter, and he has cantored at every beatification that has taken place in the city of Detroit. Coleman, welcome to the Open Door Policy.
What up, Coleman?
Yo.
It's good to see you. Wait, I got a question for Father Steve before we jump into our rapid fire questions. Father Steve, do you have any graces that you'd like to share with the listeners?
You know, I do. God's been really awesome to me lately. One of the particular graces that I have that has been in my life has been just the work I'm doing with the Archdiocese. There's been a few blessings that have happened with that. The people I get to work with, I get to see what great disciples they are and how they are using their gifts and talents to build up the kingdom. That's been a real grace for me, and it's been something I've thanked the Lord for recently.
Yeah.
Danielle, what's God doing in your life?
Oh my gosh. This one was so beautiful. This Sunday, I was at Mass, and usually, baptisms can be at the end of, after Mass. But this one time, there was a baptism during Mass. And it was really beautiful because, well, first of all, the priest is like, God has claimed you. Christ has claimed you to this child. And I just started tearing up because I could think of all the ways that God has been a part of my life. It was super touching. And then the entire family, not just mom, dad, father, godmother, but who knows what, aunts, uncles, random siblings, random cousins, everyone went to the church around the baptism font. And when the priest said, Monsignor Trapp said, "And what do you ask of God's church?" the whole family just was yelled it. They're like, "Baptism!" And it was so cool. And I was like, "Yeah, this is how I want to yell." So
I'm
that was
picturing
really cool.
a chant of baptism.
So anyway, a neighboring parish is my friend over here, Coleman Ward. How are you tonight?
I am wonderful. Yourself?
I'm great. Are you ready for rapid fire questions?
I'm ready for rapid fire questions.
Coleman, number one, what is your superpower?
My superpower, I would say, is I am good with people.
All right. Number two, what do you remember about church when you were a kid?
I was not really allowed to do much but sing.
What was the last live performance that you saw?
Last live performance that I saw was... Oh, goodness. I'll just put this one out here. Pentatonics.
Oh, nice. Which scent elicits a instant memory?
Though I cannot stand it, cigarette smoke.
Would you rather have it 100 degrees and humid or negative 10 degrees?
100 degrees humid, because I just cannot, the cold. I can't.
What are you praying for these days?
A few things. I'd say one, definitely, constant into violence and humiliation into fear. Especially, non-reality based.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What was the first concert you went to?
First concert I went to that I can remember.
Was it your own?
No. Right, basically. J. Moss.
What item of clothing would someone be surprised to find in your closet?
A Rockaware sleeveless vest.
What class could you teach?
What class could I teach? I could definitely teach a class on the MCU.
Okay, going back, what is the MCU?
The Marvel Cinematic Universe.
How do you not know that, Danielle?
Wow,
My goodness.
So sorry.
Oh,
Which one is that about?
That one, that's with the Avengers.
Okay, and there was just one this past summer, wasn't there?
Yes.
That's the one
Springtime.
that is a few a year and a multi-billion dollar industry.
You know what? I can
you
take
have
the class. I have a lot to learn.
Do you have a favorite Marvel movie?
Favorite Marvel movie?
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. Civil War.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
That okay.
As far as the MCU is concerned, because
Right.
outside of that, I might say Blade.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I'm a daywalker, which means I can tolerate the sunlight.
great?
Have you seen Marvel movies, Danielle?
I
but
guess
Deadpool
not.
was awesome too. Okay, let me stop. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm sorry. I suppose not. But yeah, so Pentatonics. Where did you see them? And what song just like made you just like say stop?
We saw them in Canada, actually. Was it Toronto, I believe?
Nice.
One of my favorite songs by them is "See Through." It's like EDM, but it's like they're using their voices, so it's awesome.
That's pretty cool.
And why did you give the wrong answer about 100 and humid rather than 10 below?
Just 'cause
No, I'm with you.
Cold,
I know. Yeah.
I mean, I can turn on the air conditioning in the house, or just like take off my clothes or something. But
when it gets cold,
I lose hope.
you get cold to the bone, right?
That's the thing about cold weather is I feel like there's like at a certain point there's like you can't put on warmer clothes. It's like I've maxed out on my warm clothes. Universe. Yeah. Anyway, hear that. So what church did you grow up going to when you were a little kid? Not allowed to do much but sing.
Yep, St. Leo Catholic Church.
Okay.
Right on
Grand River.
14 Grand River. My first pastor.
It's a very beautiful church. So that's
Yes, it is. Pastor Bishop Gumbleton.
Oh yeah.
Yep. My dad was the minister of music there for 25 years.
Cool. What up? Coleman, I got a question for you.
Yes,
Can you talk to me a little bit more about when you decided to make faith your own experience? Because you were saying you grew up in a church, right? So your father and your mother are very involved in their faith.
Mm-hmm.
So when did you decide? But you're not living out your parents' faith. You're living out yours. So how did that happen?
Through definitely through music, because it's I began to make it something that is more than just what I was taught. I began to make it something that's is a part of me, and through personal experience, definitely personal research, through like when I was talking about how I think I believe I'm good with people. I believe I have a very nice wide variety of friends. I'm not going to say I have all the friends, but like the ones that I do have, I believe it's a nice variety of different perspectives, different upbringings and things like that to give me a well-rounded view on my faith and why I have my faith, why I decide to keep it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
About what age did you start wondering like, oh, is this real? Is this mine? Is it not?
Definitely, I'd say around the beginning of high school.
Okay.
Because before then,
where'd you go to high school?
Detroit School of Arts.
Okay.
Oh,
Yep.
cool.
Yep.
Were there other people going to church in your high school? Was it kind of a thing? Was it?
People
again, didn't talk about it.
Not a lot of different upbringings. It was Detroit public school, so I now it was in choir and music and all those kind of things. So typically, in choirs, most people went to church. Not everybody's Catholic.
Right.
I believe I was probably the only Catholic.
Okay.
Everybody else was a myriad of Baptists and
did you get any flack for that or like questions?
Of course. Like you guys worship Mary, right?
Oh yeah, that's always there.
And it's always great in high school to stand out and be different, right?
Oh,
Everyone wants to be like only something.
Only
in high
something,
school.
exactly. I think there was maybe one other girl, a friend of mine who went to St. Scholastica.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but again, she's in the girls' choir and everything, and plus she was a couple years older than me. She took on kind of a big sister role, so of course she left, and then here I am now the only one, the last Catholic
in the school. Wow,
Right.
so you were carrying a something because then people were like, how did that change your perspective on faith though? Right, because
right.
Now now you're being
questioned.
questioned.
Right, exactly. It woke me up a bit, of course, because of course, up to then, I've been to Catholic, a couple Catholic schools, I've been in and out of a few schools, but my whole life, was centered around family and my church most of the time. As far as music went, it was, a lot of church, especially with a dad who's a working musician, so. Lot of churches.
Yeah.
Lots of hours, lots of different churches.
Oh, exactly. Lots of
getting there early, staying
exactly.
late.
Right. So I hadn't really had to, I guess, quote unquote, defend myself, much because everybody around me was a churchgoer. So get to high school, it's a bit of a different experience. Again, you have I'm the only Catholic. You have, other Protestants over here as well. But then, of course, you have everyone who's like, this is a bunch of bull crap. And, why do you do this? Why do you do that?
Right.
Yeah.
Were you part of a youth group at all or anything like that in high school?
Well, not in school. I was in YFACT under Joyce Francois. So yeah, I'd say that
Shout
was
out to
definitely
Joyce.
Hey,
Francois.
Joyce.
Uh-huh. So that was definitely, I guess my, safe space, I guess.
Yes.
YFACT, Young Faith Activators of Christ's Teachings, an urban ministry of the Archdiocese of Detroit.
Great group. Been in it since, been around. It's a group for high school students, but I've been around way before then. We also had the Urban Parish Youth Choir.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
A lot of, which is also another choir, consisted of different parishes around the diocese. They're young people.
And YFACT is not a parish-based
it's
youth ministry. It's like all throughout the city of
exactly
Detroit, right?
All throughout the diocese. Kids are in YFACT. It's we come together, we be Catholic. A lot of different activities, a lot of different community service projects.
And you mentioned Ecuador. Did you do? I know YFAC does a mission trip.
Right.
Some of them go to Ecuador as a mission trip. Did you do that in high school?
Yes, I did. My junior year actually went to Ecuador, and I mentioned Ecuador before. Actually, World Youth Day was in Panama.
Right.
So Ecuador. But that was a different trip. Went there. We participated in what Joyce calls the Llama Project. We, amongst other things, computers and such, we donated a lot of llamas.
Like the animal.
You
Yes.
actually bring the
Yes.
llamas down with? No, I'm kidding.
Right? That'd be so cool, like sitting on the plane next to a llama. Hey, what's up, dude?
I don't even know how llamas sound. I was going to do the voice. But.
Right, I was going to do it, but I don't think that's it. They spit. I know. Oh, no, that's
No,
a
that's
podcast.
camels, right?
Oh.
That's okay. But
Do
anyway,
you know llamas don't?
no, I don't know. If there are any llama farmers out there, please
Right,
reach out.
exactly.
But were there any, like, would you consider that a pivotal moment in your faith? Like, can you, if you were going to
definitely
point to,
that,
like, top 2, 3 pivotal moments, like, what would you say?
Let's see. There would definitely be Ecuador would definitely be one of them. Also would be NCYC. That was really cool.
And what is that?
The National Catholic Youth Conference,
And where is it?
Indianapolis.
And didn't you?
That's in
Did
Indiana.
you sing at one?
I did.
Okay, you
I was
sing
part
at
of the
one.
animator project. They take about 100 kids from around the country, really, and we all come together, and we're in charge of, I guess, leading the worship service experience there through song and dance and reading.
Yeah. Mission trips are such a powerful way for people to encounter Christ. I know, like you get to own your faith in a new way when you share it with someone, whether that's directly like preaching the gospel or just kind of like coming as an ambassador of Christ to do works of charity and works of justice, of kindness, of outreach. That it's a beautiful way to like make your faith your own.
Oh yeah, definitely. And one of the most important things, one thing that Joyce taught us was that not to think of it as charity work per se. We're there in solidarity with everyone.
Yeah.
Not to go in, like you're some great Catholic savior,
Right.
but you're a friend. First and foremost, you're a brother. You're whatever they need at that moment. A brother provider, because we have it in our minds, that we're going there to perform a service when they are doing a lot for us as well. In turn, so that was definitely a pivotal moment.
Yeah, that's like the word that Christ says that that you only find your life by losing it, by giving it away.
Amen.
And so when we pour ourselves out in service to others, God fills us up. But also, like you're saying, like we learn so much from the people we serve that like, we often leave the experience of like, I got a whole lot more than I gave.
Exactly, right.
I think that if we can just touch on it really quick, Father Steve teased on this in the intro, but some of the listeners might have seen Coleman before, especially if you're at the beatification of Solanus Casey. Yeah, you were the cantor of that
Me
mass.
and Miss Elizabeth, we cantored. It was amazing. Yeah. Music director for the Archdiocese of Detroit, Joe Balistreri. Shout out Joe Balistreri.
Hey,
Shout out
Joe.
JB,
He was
former ODP
yeah, I
guest.
guess. Wow. Look at us.
So he texted me like a few months prior, just asking me, "Hey, you want to cantor with me for this thing?" I was like, I guess it'd be right. Because
Like
I was
the
thinking,
least amount of details
exactly
ever.
right. So I'm like, okay, because I'm thinking it's going to be like the canonization mass for Mother Teresa, where we just had a big mass at the cathedral,
Yeah,
and that was it.
Celebrating what was going on somewhere
Exactly,
else,
right?
Right.
Exactly. I'm like, okay, done that. So that'll be cool. And then I'm like, oh, this is at where? Ford Field? There'll be how many people?
Right. 70,000 people.
And I'm supposed to just stand up there and
sing.
and sing. So I'm like, okay,
What was that
it's
like?
a thing. It was crazy. A lot of time I can say when I first put, because of course everybody remembers that day. It was pouring down, raining.
Yeah.
I drove down there with my mom. Ended up having to get out, and she had to go park and everything.
Yeah.
And
Because you had to get in and rehearse.
exactly
and get
right.
ready,
Get
yeah.
in, make my call time, and then I remember just the first one walking on to the altar which it was at that
Yeah,
moment.
because they built like a platform where all of that would be.
And then just looking around because little fun fact, I used to work at Ford Field.
Stop it.
Uh-huh.
Oh, cool.
I worked at the Stadium Collection, and I believe that's at like Gate A or something store doing retail. I was the hat guy.
Nice.
So I had been there, I'd seen it a lot of times, like, oh, what a big field. But then like stepping onto it and looking
Right.
around and realizing that, all of these critical eyes are going to be on me. I'm like, oh, okay, that's a bit different. So my head was pounding, but as music does for me, once I'm into the flow of things, like I forget that they're even there.
Yeah.
So
That's great.
That's awesome. Thank you so much.
yeah.
Coleman, what does it mean for you to be a joyful missionary disciple?
To be a joyful missionary disciple, say that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
As like a musician and a student in college, like for you specifically,
Yeah, where you
what
are
does
right
your
now in your life.
like how do you
Yeah.
feel like Christ is calling you?
For me, I feel my place, not just in music, but in life, is to be with the people, to be with His people. Empathy and discernment, I believe, are gifts of mine, and to be able to comfort, in time of need, and to inspire.
You were talking in the earlier part, you're praying for an end to violence. Does that tie into this in that way or not really?
Of course. For example, whenever, say, you read about or hear about the mass shootings, for instance, which is a huge topic in this country right now. It's just it makes it hard for people to hope you get the when is it all going to end and all this kind of stuff. So I just think what can I do? What can I do to ease the suffering? Like I can't make the legislature. I can't pass the laws, but I can I can play the song. I can be with your family. I can be with your family when you have questions. I can be with your family when you're suffering. So the little things that I believe I can do that hopefully have an impact on those that I'm with.
What are the most meaningful times for you as a musician?
There's mid-song, I guess. I'll give this a quick little story. This past Sunday, the choir and we did "I Give Myself Away" by William McDowell, and it was powerful. Usually, I do that song by myself. Sometimes it's a solo for the congregation, and sometimes do it at funerals and in weddings. But this was the first time that the choir had done it with me, and it was just beautiful. It was like a moment in the song where I go, "My life is not my own. To you I belong. I give myself to you." And I repeat that. The choir comes in repeating it, and then at by the third, fourth time, the entire church is singing it. I'm only supposed to do that part like maybe like 3 times, but I think we did it quite a lot of times. I'm just like, wow, that was powerful. That is healing.
Yeah.
Do you feel God present when you sing?
Oh, definitely.
And what does that feel like? I mean, musicians are fascinating to me because I'm a horrible musician. So it's like a gift that I've heard about and I've seen, but I don't know personally. So like, when you're, especially in congregational work, like when you're worshiping God, right? And you're helping other people to enter into worship. Because that's really the goal of music at Mass, is to help people enter into that worship. I mean, tell me a little bit about that experience for you as prayer.
So, as I believe it was Father Augustine who said, when you sing, you pray twice. When I play, when I'm playing and singing, I don't even think my eyes are open most of the time. I think my eyes are closed most of the time. It's a very meditative experience for me, very calming. Even if the song is loud and fast, it's a very at home, peaceful moment for me.
Does it come and go, or is it pretty standard? Is it something that's there all the time, or only at certain times?
I feel it best when I'm in a community of worshipers. When I'm at church or, at the beatification or at NCYC, like, where, because, you feel less alone. There's one thing, for me, like, let's say in my own personal practice, let's say, I'm just, learning a new song or something, or, it's one thing to be by myself in, personal prayer, but to be in a community, because, we weren't all put here, just to be alone.
Amen.
Exactly. We were here to be with one another, be in solidarity with one another, and to worship one another.
Danielle, have you sung before, like at Mass? I know you play some instruments and you sing. Have you cantored at Mass?
Oh, so what are you doing on Sundays at 9:45?
Well, the thing is, I haven't joined the choir just because I'm so all over the place, but I love to sing at Mass. It's super fun. And you were the special feature when you were a seminarian, right? Weren't you the voice of Jesus?
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, we don't need to relive that.
Oh, my gosh. So, a question for you. So, you go to Wayne State, right?
Yes, ma'am.
If I can ask you, how old are you? Just so.
22.
22. So,
How
young.
rude.
How
rude.
I'm
so you're a young man growing up in this city, growing up in this church. What are your dreams for this city, and what are your dreams for this church with Jesus? As a young leader.
Right. So, dream for the city, to be reinvigorated, be great to be able to revitalize the music scene here in Detroit. Because at one time, we were in Mecca. You say our name along with, in New York. We're going to go to New York to record. We're going to go to Chicago record. We're going to go record at Motown. We're going to record in Detroit. So to be able to, get back to that name for ourselves, to be once again a leader in music, that'd be great. My dream for our church, in the nicest terms possible, a lot of us need to get out the way and let the young people do their thing. Because a lot of, I believe it really feels like a lot of this is being controlled by, a lot of people who are out of touch, to say the least, who are, not in tune to, how we feel, how we are, our new way of doing things, and, the new world that we live in. Sometimes it feels like, we're holding on to something that really, and certain ideals that shouldn't really, be relevant at this time. So my dream for the church is definitely to, I guess not reinvent, but to, level up.
Level up. Level up. Got it. And your experience as a student at Wayne State as well. What's that like? You being on campus and.
Actually, that's pretty chill. I used to my freshman and sophomore year. Yeah. Before I took the job over at Nativity, I sang, at the Newman Center.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, another little story. My mom was also a Wayne Stater. So I used to go there with her all the time when I was little. My dad used to play the Mass there as well.
Oh, cool.
Yep.
Got it. And what does it mean for you to be a joyful missionary disciple then on campus, right? Because it's one thing when you're in the church and in ministry, which I believe God has called you to, but then you're also called to this other place, right? A college campus. So what's the difference for you?
I guess not too much of a difference because I guess a lot of the work that I've done, I mean, again, being someone who's been based in the city my whole life, and going to Wayne State made me realize how connected everyone in the city really is.
Yeah.
Because I went there and met some people that I had pretty much known my whole life. Like Dr. Duncan and a lot of other connects that I never knew I really had. My choir teacher, Dr. Sutton, with School with Joe up at U of M.
Oh, really?
Right. And one of my other professors, Jeremy Peters, the music business professor, he sings with Evie, and they did a project with the Archie Chorus, which I sang in.
Oh, cool.
So yeah.
So there's all kinds of stuff,
exactly, all kinds of connects.
interconnected things like that. How have you seen God work recently?
Or
where
do I?
Yeah.
Yeah. So man, I would say definitely in prayer, through community. For example, in my church, there's a young lady by the name of Erica. Her and her family, they'll be moving soon. She's been there her whole life. They watched her grow up. They watched her kids, grow. She'll be moving down south. And, a funny story that actually she announced that right after we sang I Give Myself Away.
Hey.
And just the amount of prayer and everything over her family, the way, you get to see someone, finally, fly from the coop, just lets that first of all, God will take you anywhere.
Amen.
Doing things that you never imagined, thought, impossible, or,
Right.
Right. Those moments, right?
We've all been there. FSP, do you have a favorite hymn?
It wasn't until I came to seminary where until I was exposed to some more gospel style music. And I know Precious Lord I had never heard in my life until I came to seminary. And I found that to be so moving and such a beautiful hymn.
It was written when his wife was dying, right? Or after she passed. So he was writing out of his
around that
pain.
time, I believe.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I found that to be just a beautiful song and so full of meaning, even though it's I felt like I could enter into it in a way that I didn't have his experience, because I remember hearing he wrote it at a time of grief. So I didn't enter with the same kind of coming out of grief, but I do remember just feeling like this really wants me to trust in the Lord more. And that was a beautiful experience. So Precious Lord is one of my favorite hymns.
That's a really beautiful one. Top? Do you have a top hymn?
Top hymn?
Yeah.
Off the top of my head, one that I love doing in church is Leaning on the Everlasting Arms.
Do you know that one, Father Steve?
I don't. I mean,
what a fellowship, what a joy divine, leaning on the everlasting arms.
That's great. I saw this thing recently about if you could block a hymn for a year, what hymn would you want to block? So I'm not going to ask you, but I thought that was a pretty funny way to say, just as music can inspire a deep admiration, I know there are many people who, when they hear a song, they're like, no,
never.
Thank
It's
you.
please stop.
And I can imagine musicians more than anyone have that.
Oh, goodness,
right?
yes. If I have to sing Rock of Ages one more time.
It's a beautiful hymn.
It is, but
maybe just a break. Maybe just not delete it forever. Just
there's no way to delete it forever. It's like putting something on the internet. Once it's there.
This was a church fundraiser, and you could bid, and the highest bidder got to block a hymn for a year.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
It's
a little shade.
And the other
shade,
highest
right?
bidder got to like pick their favorite song to always be the recessional. So anyway,
Oh man.
Danielle, do you have a favorite hymn?
so I have like 1,000, right? That just make it count. But ones that I've been really loving right now. I've been really digging "Great Is Thy Faithfulness" this year. Oh God, my
yeah,
Father.
same.
That one's moving me. Maybe I'll just like send you my request list on the day
Right.
that I like plan on
But
attending
it seems
your
like we're
parish.
pretty much here, though.
Yeah,
It's like,
so-
wow,
Right.
great.
Yeah, 'cause I like
I
leaving
played
on-
that a lot this year.
Okay, yeah, I was just really feeling it. Do you know that one?
I do.
Okay, yeah.
So, Coleman, as we wrap up, we usually give our guests a chance to leave a final word, prayer, word of encouragement,
For the
anything they
listeners.
want to share with the listener.
Be good people, like again, like what we were saying before, don't he didn't put us all here to be alone, definitely not to judge one another. That be the word.
Amen.
Thanks.
So grateful to Coleman Ward for stopping by the Open Door Policy Studio and for sharing his love of music and his desire for greater justice and peace in the world.
And once again, before we say goodbye, if you liked this episode, please share it with your friends, your neighbors, your relatives, your Trader Joe cashier. You can also leave us a review on iTunes. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Our handle is @OpenDoorDetroit. Help us unleash the gospel. Open Door Policy was produced by Ron Pangborn and the creative team of the Archdiocese of Detroit.
When I run into people on the street who listen, they're like, hey, I like the podcast. One suggestion.
No,
A little more
that's
Danielle.
not true. Oh my God.
I'm Father Steve Poulos with Danielle Center.
And this has been another episode of Open Door Policy.
You know what would be
Anyway.
good is if you kind of just listened, Father. You feel like you're better at listening.
I'm going to leave this room.